So today we're going to be going over an evaluation of the New York Knicks, overall how they did this season, and I'm going to say they exceeded expectations over the regular season, of course over the postseason. The New York Knicks were guaranteed to land a massive contract for multi-time All-Star dunk contest winner Donovan Mitchell, that sadly chose the Cleveland Cavaliers after leaked pandering over hinting Jalen Brunson from the Dallas Mavericks had an outstanding postseason. A productive floor general for the Dallas Mavericks, was perceived to get over a max deal, even though the majority fan base was more focused on the absolute scorer to fit over in the two guard, when the Knicks were kind of missing a point guard out of the aging, injury-prone Derrick Rose. And we casted around a mid-level 35-win season to winning 47 games, reaching over the 5th seed, exceeding expectations. Could have been 4th if it wasn't for the Brooklyn Nets sneaking around the 4th before they got rid of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving around the middle of the season. And the Knicks, this came over a massive offseason. After around July 11th, around the draft, after trading Jalen Duren, Kemba Walker to the Detroit Pistons, Kemba Walker was bought off waivers to go to the Dallas Mavericks in the latter part of the season, and trading for Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel, rotational pieces at best, especially when Alec Burks would go over to the Pistons for Nikola Radovic. Mitchell Robinson was signed over a multi-contractual deal, as well as Jalen Brunson for $100 million, picking up Isaiah Hartenstein to get, more depth around the 5 position. And they were exceedingly exceptional over in especially Jalen Brunson, that was averaging around 27 points per game. Picked out around at least around 67 games around the regular season, and was averaging a majority of assists over this time. His win share percentage over for the Knicks whenever he was on the floor was completely flawless, with an 8.7. He was great off the field, while also nearly matching this field goal position, over 49% from the field, off of 41% from behind the arc. Damn near exceptional. Averaging around 24 points per game with a 6.2 assist rating. He's been outstanding. Of course, he was kind of out of his postseason performance he had in the 2021 postseason that he had against the Phoenix Suns, and carrying the load when Luka Doncic was out early in the rounds in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson was a bit, having an underwhelming career, even though he started at age 22 from Villanova. And been, somewhat exceptionally adequate, not really breaking out for the Dallas Mavericks as a starter until around the 2020-2021 season. But just putting up damn near all-star numbers. Having great post game for an undersized guard, good distribution, and as well, anytime he's around the floor, he just gets the Knicks to be such an improving team. When Julius Randle has already been a questionable leader at best with his consistency and his maturity issues, having him play over just a primordial scorer to just be that 1-2 combo, and we saw so much improvement, especially jump shot wise with RJ Barrett. Quentin Grimes became a perennial starter over in the team. When Evan Fournier was kind of declining in rotational minutes, Derrick Rose was still getting hurt early part of the season. He was literally the Knicks' general mascot. They were just killing it. Mitchell Robinson was exceeding expectations. Jericho Sims, he didn't make it over to the dunk contest. He was an average good lob threat around the rotation, but I don't think he's that good. Obi Toppin, better improvement around his sophomore season. That he's coming out of, this is his 3rd season. Out of starting from 2020 from Dayton. But decline around his production, his 3-point shot has improved. around the open corner threes, and he's trying to take it over as a spot up shot creator, as well as trying to be an athletic freak. Don't make him be the Tim Hardaway Jr. That's why he went to the Mavs to begin with. And the Knicks have a forte of always getting rid of rotational pieces and putting them on the Mavericks, just like we did with Tyson Chandler, just like we did with Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Nerlens Noel, he was on the 76ers to the Mavericks, but then he went back to the Knicks. Now up to the Pistons. Trey Burke, I think he went over to the Mavericks one time when we traded him away after a decent season he had with the Knicks. So, exceptional off-season wise over the four-team trade we had around the middle of the season, getting rid of Cam Reddish, Ryan Okanako, Jalen McDaniels going to the... And this was involving Matisse Thybulle as well going to the Trailblazers after he wasn't panning out with the Sixers to get Josh Hart. Josh Hart was exceeding everybody's expectations after an 8-game winning streak around All-Star break after over the middle of the season. And this is coming out when the Knicks were just winning games off the wazoo. When they went over from their 24th to their 30th game, they were absolutely amazing. Especially that game when Brunson showed out, leading in points, leading in assists, having a crossover on Alex Caruso, upsetting the Celtics on home floor in in several primetime games. That amazing game that we had at Christmas against the 76ers, or that game winner that Julius Randle knocked down. This was an exceptional regular season that I bet a lot of Knicks fans will remember fondly, especially from all the low expectations we had. That Brunson would just exceed over Donovan Mitchell, even though Donovan Mitchell had a great season with the Cleveland Cavaliers, with the Knicks even upsetting them over in the first round in a 6-game series, when overall they just had a better constructive roster. The Cavaliers are just a defensively minded team. They don't have that many playmakers that can create offense over and just have an undersized rebounding unit, even though they have good shot blockers out of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. But overall, Knicks had a great season. They kind of panned a bit slow around the season when they were going like 2 weeks around losing 3 straight against the Kings and Hornets, and the Timberwolves and Magic, and then beating the Heat, Pacers, and the Wizards over a 5-game winning streak to close out around the regular season until they lost 2 straight when the season didn't matter anymore and their seeding was already closed up over in the playoffs. So, I really don't have much negatives. When you're coming out of a mediocre season after exceeding expectations and you think that the Knicks would finally garner around confidence, I feel like the hatred over Julius Randle will pass, knowing that we have Brunson's $100 million contract with $79 guaranteed for the next till 2026. 2025-2026 season, as well as Julius Randle still having his max contract until he's 34 years old. Evan Mobley, we still need to know how to get out of that $18 million per year, and he's literally the 3rd highest paid contract out of Derrick Rose that only has $14 million remaining over his deal, just guaranteed. And I guess the rotational pieces that I wouldn't mind trading, Miles McBride needs to leave. Evan Fournier possibly could go overseas, or he could be another rotational piece with the large. Literally, that would be, beneficial over for his confidence-wise, because we know Evan Fournier was barely playing as much as Duncan Robinson was. 2, 3-and-D defenders that are supposed to do their job from the outside and score from deep, but Evan Fournier hasn't been good since his first season, when at least he was getting more minutes than Kemba Walker. when they were both coming from the Boston Celtics. So around this offseason that I will get more in depth with when we're done with the NBA Finals. The Knicks, fun basketball team. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle that showed out with an all-star season, even though he had spurts of just being an inconsistent ball chucker, not being aggressive around the post or utilizing his agility and size to actually get himself to the paint. RJ Barrett improved production-wise with discipline he needs to get more used to. That $117 million is going to rack up quick. Thinks that's already guaranteed, and the Knicks are possibly going to keep him to just get a bang for their buck, to just see how much he could still produce around his young age. So I don't see him being a guaranteed trade target yet, even though how much the fans want to lose confidence over RJ Barrett. But 19 points per game, around the 271 games played, and plus even the same draft classes. Zion Williamson has still played more games than him. 31% from behind the arc. His shooting needs to get better. He's average off the right corner of the court, and his defense can be hit or miss. Then sometimes the Knicks defense can be a bit, one-sided, overly committed, uncoordinated, and it just comes up to just going short. And just they need to have formulate more identity in their offensive side of the ball. So I just feel like more rotational pieces to fit over the depth, because Josh Hart was outstanding. A well-equipped guy for the second unit. A great rebounder. Good hustle around the team, and just the great chemistry that he has with Jalen Brunson. It's always fun to watch. And I have nothing negative to say about Josh Hart. Isaiah Hartenstein needs to get his pasty ass away from me being like the second coming of Alex Len. There's way better backup centers that could be used. Hell, I don't even mind if they even gave a max contract over to Brook Lopez so I can just get his ass out of here. He barely has a lesser block average than Jericho Sims. And he's played all 82 games. He only averages around 6.5 blocks per game. Rebounds per game, bro. We cannot trust him from behind the arc. He only shoots when it's over in the shot clock. And he just hasn't been impressive when it comes to shot blocking unless Mitchell Robinson's there to assist. He's obviously a help defender off the rotation. And a guy that just feels like he brings no impact whenever the team has the momentum. I've seen Josh Hart that I think is shorter than Jalen Brunson. I think Hart's like 6'2" or 6'1", 6 foot. And he's grabbing offensive rebounds. Yeah, he's 6'5". Holy shit. He's grabbing more offensive rebounds than the 2 7-footers we have on the floor sometimes. Mr. Robinson's ankles are always shattered to shit, bro. Emmanuel quickly really impressed me. Whenever he shows out off the second unit, man, he shows out. Literally lives up to the name. Lightning fast agility, good finish around the basket, good speed. I love his ball handling. He has a good jumper. 37% from the field, 14 points. Dependable numbers in the bench. One of the better bench players the Knicks have. As well as Quentin Grimes that just exceeded expectations over in the 2-guard spot. When it comes to being just a spot-up rotational player, to just being a good 3-and-D spot-up jumper. Whenever he catches the hot hand, Grimes catches the hot hand. I think one time he even dropped 33 points in a series game. Plus minus was a bit sporadic. It just wasn't, hitting up performances like he should have been doing, especially around the postseason. But we know he was issuing over an injured shoulder. and he dropped over a 36-point piece in just some of his starts around the regular season. I'm telling you, there is guys to build around, and if the Knicks F this up, there will be problems, and I will talk about them, because I actually want them to build around their young core, just like the Nets are doing with Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. Okay, Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie are veterans. That's a fact. But Nick Claxton showed out to be an all-defensive team player. So there's obviously guys, if you give them the time and minutes, they'll actually build around and actually make something for themselves. Then I've been hearing news of possibly getting Karl Anthony Towns to play, possibly a return of Kristaps Porzingis to get that offensive impact over that front court, possibly we could move Julius Randle to the wing, or Damian Lillard, or in my opinion, I feel like Zach LaVine would just be a good offensive help, but that would be a really big contract and sacrifice of so many pieces. Or Nikola Vucevic could be a massive pick to help over that center position, or help with the rebounding. Could it be not Freedom, not Ennis Freedom, Giannis Valanciunas. That could be one of my picks. Or Jared Allen. Somebody to help over in the rebounding or shot blocking, because we want to try to access a lot more with the pick and roll and get somebody to hustle around the rebound to get some pressure away from Mitchell Robinson, because I don't think he's that physical of a center in my opinion. So right now I'm gonna give this a rating. I'm gonna give this a B+. Second round exits are of course always a disappointment, because you think a team like this would get a lot better, but they did. Way better than how they were in the 2020 postseason, when they got devastated in a 5-game series. They nearly went the distance with the Miami Heat, that are now like a game down below against the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. And they just built so much of irrelevance, which is Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle. As much as the negatives I have for him, he did have a breakout season. Hell, even more of a career season to possibly still leverage him staying with the team if they still want to build around him. So, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. Sidelines Productions. We'll be back with future content. Like, comment, subscribe. Of course, you can share this, so we can build over an algorithm, probably build up to what we have over in the DST show, and tell me how you think about the Knicks season.